I want to talk about a particularly egregious, really bad vulnerability that a security researcher uncovered in a AI chatbot running on ServiceNow. Now, to be clear, number one, this has been remediated by ServiceNow already. Number two, this was never an incident. This has not, there's no evidence that this was actively exploited, but it was a pretty bad vulnerability. And effectively, what this researcher discovered was that the ServiceNow chatbot, which was connected to other AI agents in the system, had effectively no authentication. So if you had the universal API key that was shared across every single customer, and you had a customer's email address, just any user's email address, just their email address, no authentication, no password, a couple other pieces of configuration information, all very basic, that this researcher was able to get in to take on the role of any user from any tenant, and then utilize that AI agent chatbot to call another one and use that secondary one to create themselves a new account that had administrative privileges in ServiceNow. So this is really bad. Clearly, multiple levels of failure here in terms of security oversight, validation, et cetera. Now, fortunately, as we've seen so far, this has not been exploited and it's been fixed. But there's an important lesson here, which I think we need to take as security professionals. One is that you can't allow things to go into production like this without some sort of oversight, some sort of security oversight. And there's different ways to do this. Clearly, having some sort of validation and review from an authentication, data flow, authorization perspective, network connection perspective, all of that needs to be done. Now, ideally, you do it as early as possible in the process. Ideally, you would do something like have a security champions program where you've educated specific developers on each team to recognize and understand some of these things. Keep this in mind. As a security professional, we live and breathe this stuff, right? We understand authentication and authorization. We understand least privileges. Developers don't have that mindset. They're just simply not exposed to it and may not be aware of the implications of what they're doing. In some cases, for example, developers may not even be aware of, let's say, how the network is set up and may inadvertently configure something in a way that's very risky. So this example is, I think, a great one to bring internally. And it really should empower you to put some controls in place around how your developers are building these applications to make sure that you have security checkpoints embedded as early as possible and throughout the process. You have knowledgeable people either on the security team and I would say not or and on the development team to validate and sanity check some of these things, because you don't want your AI chat agent or your new AI bot to become the example that opens the door to a gigantic incident that everyone points to and says, hey, we don't want to be like that. So please be proactive here. Feel empowered to do this. And if your organization doesn't let you, if your developers are pushing back, raise this up as far as you need to, because there will be major incidents that are due to misconfigured, overly permissioned AI agents. This was a near miss from our perspective, since ServiceNow is such a giant platform. I want to thank the security researcher for disclosing this responsibly, giving ServiceNow the opportunity to remediate this. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that it was taken advantage of. But please treat this as a catalyst and a wake-up call, and work within your organization to prioritize your involvement with your developers and your application builders, and make sure that that you have the visibility that you need, and that whenever necessary, right, that you have the big stick, so to speak, to say, no, we can't do this. This is too risky. Thank you. Stay safe out there, and have a good day.